I was having a difficult time reaching that meditative state, turning off the outside world, finding peace and silence in the noise. And for me, sound and vibration, we need to take time to rest and recharge. And the deeper and harder we can rest, the more powerful and optimized we can be when it's go time and when it's time for us to do what we need to do.
Craig, this is pretty amazing. I can attest, and I'm not the only one. What kind of transformations have you witnessed in clients who regularly use your inHarmony technology? And, what's your feedback been like? What's been most surprising or moving for you?
So I'll tell you, when we first came out with the meditation cushion back in 2020, and we started shipping in 2021, 2022, it was an Indiegogo campaign. So we actually raised capital first and created the product. So there was a pretty good delay between when we went to market and when we began shipping. And my favorite feedback that I get, and it happens to correspond beautifully to this audience, it is from experienced meditators. It was not something that I was expecting because I myself am not an experienced meditator. Our meditation cushion really serves two main audiences. Those that can't meditate or couldn't meditate, and we teach them how to do so. And those that have been meditating for a long time, as I mentioned, we help them to reach the depths of their meditative state. So my favorite feedback that I get is from somebody that's got a regular meditative practice that sends me a text that goes a little something like, man, I had no idea how deep I could actually go. Like, thank you for showing me the true value and the full benefit of my meditation and my meditative practice. So I'm blown away. I still get those text messages on a regular basis. When you look to the rest of our products, when you look towards the inHarmony Sound Lounge 2, the Practitioner 2, the massage table, the text messages that we get really have to do with the full body transformation. Particularly here in the United States, we live very sedentary lifestyles. I could sit in front of this computer for 8-10 hours a day, easy. And I get up, I walk around, I have this red light that I can turn on that gives me some red light therapy and infrared, near infrared therapy. I have different tools here that I use to help. Of course, I go outside and I get sunlight on a regular basis. I take walks, I stretch my legs. I'm doing a lot of things, but yesterday was a day in the studio. I was on my feet. I was moving around the entire day. Today is a work day. I'm sitting at my desk working throughout the day. So for folks like me that are sitting in front of a desk for long periods of time, getting access to the Sound Lounge where I can shake every cell in my body, I can move the lymph system in the body, it's a really profound change. So what the feedback that we get and the transformation that we hear about often has to do with overall health and wellness, peak performance. Entrepreneurs that are using our technology before they go into a big board meeting or a big presentation. Entrepreneurs that have multiple companies that use the Sound Lounge or our meditation cushion as a break from one business to another to kind of clear and clean the slate so that they can charge forward with a new thought process. Or better yet, folks that are in a creative role of some sort that use it to tap into their creativity, to tap into that alpha brainwave state. It's like a daydreamy state. It's where creativity really begins and lives. So being able to tap into that on cue is something that our technology is really, really profound for. And then as a blanket case, it really comes down to relaxation. It really comes down to using our hardware and music as a tool to reach a deeply relaxed state in an otherwise chaotic world. I'm a father. I have a 4.5-year-old that's on the other side of that door. I have an amazing wife that I've been with for 16 years. Nate, you know them well. You've been in my home. I've got a lot to manage. I have a lot being thrown at me on a regular basis, not to mention inHarmony is bustling and growing. We have 26 team members across multiple time zones. I'm an in-demand chap, if you will, and there's a lot of demands on my time and my energy. I don't really get a whole lot of time to rest. I drink coffee. I like caffeine. I drink water. I drink my minerals. I get my salt. I'm doing all the things that I need to do. I get a workout in. Right? I'm exercising my muscles, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, squats. I get to swim. I got to soak in a hot tub last night. Like, I got a lot of things that I do to help me metabolically stay sharp. And one of the most important aspects of that is, again, that rest and relaxation, that downtime. So if I get a half-hour break, I know I can go to my Sound Lounge, put on a 22-minute session, drop into a deeply relaxing state, so that I can get the rest and relaxation I need to charge forward and have energy for the rest of the day. My daughter comes home around 5 o'clock. It's now 3 o'clock as we're recording this. She's 4.5. She has endless amounts of energy. I want to keep up with her. I want to chase her around the house. I want to play rough with her. I want to do all these things. And after I leave it on the field all day with inHarmony and all of my related happenings, I want to make sure that I can rest, recharge, and go into the evening hours with my daughter, my wife, my friends, my family, and those that love me and I love. So it's a really powerful recharge tool, midday, end of the day, beginning of the day, to make sure that I'm maximizing my effectiveness in all the things that I do day in and day out.
Amen, brother. And I have to say, yes, Harmony has all the energy in the world. I tried to keep up with her. It
Right.
wasn't happening.
It's
Just wasn't
remarkable.
happening. And that's, we all had that, right? We all had that. And that is one thing that if I could say my personal story, the first time I ever laid on the sound lounge, because I had tried and used the meditation cushion before sitting up. But when I laid on your sound lounge and, you had a few people over, it was loud in your house, put on the eye mask, put on the headphones, and within probably 5 or 6 minutes, I was feeling my astral body swaying side to side out of my physical body. That's usually impossible when you have
Mm,
distractions. Even just the urge
mm,
to urinate will stop you from having a out of body experience for most people. For me,
yeah.
it was like, wow, okay, finally, it is the like ultimate cheat code for it's an interesting thing. I have a lot of friends in the meditation and the energy workspace, and I always kind of give a sideways glance when they say, "Oh, I dropped into this deep theta state," and I was like, "But how do you know? You don't know unless." A, you have binaural beats or you have vibroacoustic therapy that will put you into a theta or an alpha
Yeah.
or a delta or gamma brainwave state, or you have an EEG actually measuring your brain waves that could tell you were in gamma or whatever for this long. And so having that there to actually not have to do it the long, hard way, if you think about it this way, that when people meditate for an hour, they might actually be in a deep theta state, if that's where their brain is going. They might be in that state for maybe 5 or maybe 8 minutes of an hour because our mind tends to wander. And of course, we're not just having all theta brainwaves, we have all the brainwave states going on all the times. It's which one's
Yeah.
predominant. And just imagine if you could lay down or sit down on your meditation cushion and have it put you there and hold you there for an hour. Let's just do the math on that, everybody. So
Mm,
if you meditate for an hour, you get 5 minutes in that brainwave state average. Let's say you're a very experienced meditator and you could go for 10 minutes, okay? Well, if you actually use the technology and you are in that brainwave state for a full hour, that would be the equivalent of 6 hours of meditation as far as the effect on your brain and on your chemicals and your body and your spirit. So it's a more efficient, effective way, and that's one reason that I love your technology so much. And so we've got a big future coming in. So you know, really, Craig, as the pioneer and the visionary for this, how do you see the vibroacoustic therapy really fitting into the broader landscape of meditation practices as more and more people not just start meditating, but they're also seeking tech based solutions for this mental and this physical wellness?
So look, you just touched on something that I think is really important, and that is the power of sound and vibration to take us to and hold us in a particular brainwave state. And we know this because music does this by itself. Even before you work in binaural beats, isochronic tones, pacing, and specifics into how we're recording our music, even once you do that, it just amplifies it even more. It just amplifies it and makes it even that much more intense. So, to your point, we do have the ability to hold you in that deep meditative state. And we do so from the very beginning to the very end. We've done this with EEG testing, echoencephalograph testing, which tests brainwave states. And we can see exactly how the brain harmonizes, how different parts of the brain that govern different aspects of our neural plasticity. We can see exactly how that happens almost in real time. It's pretty incredible, actually, when you start to think about how science and technology in studying these metabolic processes and finding sensors we can see things today that we haven't been able to see in recent years. It's really quite magical. From the first few beats of our music meditations, we can see that change in brainwave state. And to your point, we can lock you into that theta brainwave state. We can hold you there bring you down into delta, bring you up into gamma. We can move you around, and it's really quite profound. They say 20 minutes straight in theta is equivalent to about 4 to 6 hours of sleep. Now, all of a sudden, you're looking at that sound lounge. I'm looking at that sound lounge as the ultimate hack, as the ultimate way for me to maximize rest and relaxation to make up for a bad night's sleep. I have a 4.5-year-old. I don't always get the best night's sleep. She wakes up in the middle of the night. Sometimes she crawls into my bed. She's kicking me. She's moving around in the covers and restless. And if she's restless, I'm restless. So these types of things happen to the everyday human being that's just trying to go about and have the best possible sleep, the best possible day that they can. So you just touched on one of the most powerful aspects of our technology and music meditations in general, is that music holds and locks the body into a specific brainwave state and can keep you there. So for me, it's about teaching people about the power of sound and vibration. You asked what the future looks like. You asked what this holds for humanity and beyond. And I don't know the exact answer to that, except I do know that people are going to be better rested. I know that they're going to be on point more often during the day. I know that we're going to start to, I'm reminded of the saying, the best is yet to come. Like, we are about to optimize performance for humanity. And that's great for mom and dad. We work a lot with parents. We work a lot with athletes, whether they're weekend warriors or elite athletes, Olympians, NFL and professional players. And it's one thing when you take the average mom and dad and you give them restoration, recharging, rejuvenation. You give them the ability to be the best mom and dad that they can. Now, all of a sudden, we've got an entire generation that is going to grow up to be more attentive. And I can only dream about the potential impact that that's going to have with the rest of society. It's a pretty remarkable existence. And when I start to think about how this sprawls out, how this grows and where this goes, I really think of the infiniteness of our potential. And I get really excited about that.
You hit something right on the head there when you were talking about attention span. So we've all read in the past years, I'm sure most of us have read, that the average attention span now is 7 seconds. But it's actually, I've read something about 6 months ago saying it's closer to 4. So when you talk about being able to hold our attention, that's one thing about meditators. We don't just meditate just to quiet the mind. We meditate to know ourselves better, to go within. It's good for our body. It's good for our mind. It's good for our spirit. And that's one of the reasons why we do it. And with this vibroacoustic therapy, you're actually not only just giving your body this massage, but as our friend Dr. Jeffrey Thompson talks about, the skin sensing network, where when you have that, okay, I'll just put it out here for everybody out there. I get VR sickness like you wouldn't believe it. And why that's relevant. So I get so sick if I put VR on, because my eyes are telling me that my body's moving, but my eustachian tubes and my motion sensors in my body are telling me we're not moving. And that disconnect makes my neural system, I just vomit almost uncontrollably, and I'm sick for about 2 weeks.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah. So VR is not my thing. But here's another thing as well, that what you were talking about earlier, where what you're hearing and what you're feeling are in congruence and they are cohesive with one another, it leads to a deeper experience. And I can say for myself that just like a sensory deprivation tank can help lead to those states as well, having something where you're, and what you do as well with a brain tap and having the lights, and what I've experienced is there. So your eyes and your ears and your body are all experiencing. All we need to do is have a scent machine and have something in your mouth that can, get all 5 of those senses going to actually create.
Oh yeah. So look, I highly recommend putting a piece of dark chocolate on your tongue and letting that melt during your session. Using some essential oils, finding a scent that is alluring to you and comforting. I love frankincense. Myrrh is great. Burning incense in the background. I mean, there's lots of things that you can do to stimulate all 5 senses.